During the pandemic, we lost nearly 1,000 screens in the US, and we continue to lose them regularly. If we don't reverse this trend, we'll be losing a vital part of our culture. This is my battle cry. Filmmakers, keep making films for the big screen. I know I will.
I think one thing that especially me and you guys complain about regarding theatrical releases in India today is that most of them bank on nostalgia or refresh old IPs, and how there is an absence of the indie space thriving theatrically. I was watching the Oscars last night, and what stood out to me was the underdog films getting showered with love. A movie like Anora, made on a $6 million budget, not only makes $41 million in its box office revenue, but gets a plethora of accolades at the Oscars. This is something true for a film like The Brutalist too. A movie made on a budget of $9 million, a movie that the director Brady Corbet was told will not be bought for distribution, eventually was not only successful at the box office with revenue of over $40 million, but also was showered with awards. So there is a large movement to revive the original stories that are not considered to be box office draws during their pitch meetings. In a speech given by the Anora director Sean Baker, he really stood for the business of theatrical viewership, how the pandemic has led to closing down of theatres, especially independently owned ones, and how it's important to create a patronage for the communal viewing experience, and actually urging filmmakers to make their films for theatrical viewership first. This is a movement that is happening while Hollywood is going through the same problems as Bollywood. Most big ticket movies are franchises, superhero movies, or big IPs being renewed. But why is it that we are not having that renaissance? Why is it that examples such as 12th Fail and Lapata Ladies are minor blips, but don't actually create a movement for the same? I have to tell you that just 2 days ago I saw Superboys on Malegaon in the theatre, an empty theatre mind you, and there was an inherent beauty about the film, almost giving me a glimmer of the Hindi cinema that I fell in love with growing up. It boasted of some of the most talented actors and stood for brotherhood and the magic of cinema, but there were little to no takers for it, which makes me really reflect on what Amir Khan said about filmmakers actually being the cause of why theatrical viewership is significantly declining as a weekend habit beyond its high prices. It also has to do with what you are getting the audience accustomed to, leading to the sentiment that we see all across social media today कि जब OTT पे आएगा तब देख लेंगे.
We are saying that our films will release in theatres, but you don't really need to come, because in a few weeks you can see it at home. Right. How do you expect people to come to the theatre? How do you expect me to come to the theatre when you already told me that just wait a few weeks, I'm coming to your house. You don't have to come to the theatre. Yeah. That is the error that, according to me, the film industry is doing.
What this environment has also led to is a new movement in Hindi cinema that I have a real problem with, and that is to test the waters out for talent even the makers themselves are not sure of. How can one control the narrative of a debut actor today, especially if they are associated with the film family lineage? A terrible box office report is bound to ruin the reputation of the individual and the family from the moment they start, something that happened with a film like Lavyapa. So why wouldn't you schedule the anticipated debut of a Nepo baby digitally so that you can still play the perception game versus it being objectively obvious that the audience has rejected them? So I saw the trailer and songs of Nadania, the launchpad for Ibrahim Ali Khan, the son of Saif Ali Khan and Amrita Singh, starring opposite Khushi Kapoor in her third project. Most Nepo babies in India do soft launches of their kids so that one gets familiar with them, so that one warms up to their personalities, and eventually, when their films do release, there is genuine interest. Ibrahim is one such example, someone people genuinely became curious about on whether he will actually have the acting chops leading to a long career. The entire film visually looks like a bloody Cornetto or bubblegum commercial, with every location of a college campus actually looking like a film set, with backlights intended to almost showcase as if a music video is being shot. You see frames of a debate competition being held, and in the same room where a debate captain needs to be chosen, Ibrahim showcasing his abs because that should be enough to be eligible for the position. Khushi Kapoor and Abraham's montage of a meet cute is showcased in a very monotone Karishma ka Karishma way. She says, "Tum mere saath flirt kar rahe ho, Mehta." Other than the parents, who I think have been cast brilliantly, you've got Jugal Hansraj, Diya Mirza, Sunil Shetty and Mahima Chaudhary. I simply could not get over Abraham's dialogue delivery in the trailer. embarrassing Khushi publicly stating that he got 25,000 rupees to pretend to be her boyfriend. There is a point where Ibrahim states, "Main haar gaya, I got distracted," while almost breaking down, and it looks, even from an expression POV, so forced and fake. I guess we'll figure out as the movie releases. I know it's not that deep, but it's all just made me wonder, is the bar really low? Is Abraham actually just not comfortable in this genre? Will he actually prove himself in something else? Or am I just being too kind? Yes, Anmol, you are being too kind. Well, the trailer did not even create an impression among haters, so how is it that we can genuinely become a topic of discussion? If one were to go by the rules of Hindi cinema and its makers, unless they are speaking about you, it is good. The moment they stop talking about you, that will be a problem. So why not, for the date announcement of the film, do a poor rendition of the iconic Pyar Dosti Hai scene from Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. Other than Archana Puran Singh, who we love to see as Miss Braganza, the sorry attempt by Abraham to channelize the charm of SRK was clear in every word delivered by him. The attempt even to do the pauses, the lookaways, the smirks, just like SRK himself, almost became a poor man's imitation and slightly embarrassing. Making me also realize that this is one of the biggest problems today, where one does not have a personality or identity of their own. We are looking at a generation that has looked up to characters like Pooh and movies like Kuch Kuch Hota Hai and made it an extension of their personality. So the only way to stand out is not through their individuality, but through a tip-off to nostalgia. The movie that comes under the banner of Dharmatic has been directed by first-time director Shauna Gautam, someone who has been an associate and assistant director in movies like Sanju and Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani. I will always give a chance to a movie, no matter what preconceived notions I may have from the trailer. But what I really wanted to talk about was that while all of these issues are true and one acknowledges and clearly notices them for launch projects like this, I think what stood with me was the statement said by many that why does this film look like a cookie cutter Cornetto commercial? Why does every frame have this softened filter, brightened to the point where everything looks artificial, backlights to give a set-like aesthetic? And I realized that it is an extension of this sentiment across people today. Why do movies don't look like movies anymore? I was watching this YouTube video made by Patrick Tomaso, and he shed light on the same issue in Hollywood, on how so many frames of movies today look extremely flat, and some of the visual creative choices today lack intentionality. This is not to discount that a lot of movies still look beautiful today. I mean, you've got the likes of Dune 2 and The Brutalist that released just last year. But what he meant to say was that the color of the characters' clothes, the house that they are in, or the car that they drive in, all had a purpose and intention, and with a large dependence on technology and many backgrounds being digitally rendered, there is almost a lack of purpose in the detailing of frames. It's not a film to digital transition of cameras that's the problem, but actually how the development of cameras has led to the dynamic range of these cameras getting higher and higher, so it allows for everything to be visible on screen, making the filmmaking and creative choices lazier. Patrick says something in the video that really stuck a chord with me, and that is, the technology has only gotten better and easier and more accessible, but for some reason with all of these advancements, we've never been less creative. So when you do see a movie, say like Selfie for example, and just see the frames of the film, it has the most flat and uninspiring frames because there is a lack of intention behind the creative choices. You look at movies that have a large dependence on CGI and green screen. You look at movies like Ganpat and Bade Miyan Chote Miyan, and it's probably the least creative choices taken from a color palette POV. Just flat grays and blacks rather than having a story to tell with all of the details in the foreground. This is becoming a large problem with Red Chilli's VFX, by the way, because they are experimenting with broad colors for frames, so what looked jazzy initially in a film like Jawan is now being overused in every film, including the likes of Bhool Bhulaiya 3 and the upcoming film Sikandar. Not conscious creative choices catering to the story, but just shots in the dark to mask lack of detailing. Don't get me wrong, there will always be outliers where there is intention in every frame. I mean, I just saw Superboys of Malegaon and the cinematography of Swapnil Sonavane is genuinely like a painting, but these examples are few and far between. The bubblegum-like saturated and brightened frames, essentially to denote a young story, does not particularly provide an aesthetic of a feature film to get excited about. and seems like an extension of an advertising campaign. I hope one realizes that the sentiment of the audience is warranted, and it genuinely becomes a point of concern when the upcoming big feature film starts looking like your favorite YouTube MUA's Get Ready With Me video. And that was the video, guys. And write down in the comments below what you think about this aesthetic which looks artificial and fake in movies these days. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.